Not exactly something I enjoy. Well, we got a freeze this morning. That's actually going to help dry down our corn a little bit, and hopefully it'll help kind of freeze off the final leaves on the soybeans. That way those plants will dry out. We can get to harvesting those a little bit quicker. I'm up here on top of the bin this morning, closing a gate on top of here so that we can dump the beans into the bin we want to. This new bin doesn't have a gate at the bottom of it yet to change that slide, so we've actually got to climb up here and do it by hand, but we've got the slide ordered. We'll get that on there soon. It just hasn't gotten done yet. Didge, what'd you find? We've emptied the 3 trucks of beans that we got last night. We dumped them in the pits here, ran them into the bins, made sure we got everything going in there. Everything's running good. We had a couple minor issues, nothing unusual. But what we've decided is that we're going to switch the main machine, the 9870, over to corn and go on that, because the soybeans are not going to go at all today. There's just nothing drying. There's finally a little bit of a breeze, but it's only 35 degrees out right now. It's cold. Those beans are just not going to go. For those who don't know a lot about soybeans, when you get a heavy dew or high humidity, the plants will actually soak up the moisture and you won't be able to thresh them right. So you can't really harvest soybeans when it gets wet out for any time period. But corn is kind of the opposite. It's not a big deal. Corn doesn't really soak up the moisture. So we're going to switch that machine over to corn. That way we can at least get going on something. By the way, we got the Challenger hooked up to the grain cart, so we've got this thing about ready to go. Once we get going on corn, we're going to get this thing in the field and see how this thing runs. Right now I just need to move it out of the way so I can get to that header trailer to put the corn header on that so that we can pull it down to where the combine actually is. No, I don't think this 9650 would handle a 612C chopping header, but the 9870 is about 5 miles south of here, so I just want to hook it up and run it quick to make sure that it seems like everything's good to go with the header, and then get it on the header trailer. We'll take it down to the 9870, but I don't think this machine would handle this header very well. As far as hooking the header up, it's not too much more complicated than physically doing what I just did there. There are some settings in the combine that we have to change. You have to go in the back, change a few belts around and a sprocket and some stuff like that. But right now I just want to run this thing, so I'm not worried about making any of those changes because I'm not actually going to do any harvesting with it. Everything looks good here so far. I don't hear any noises. I don't see anything clunking around or wobbling the way that it shouldn't. I think we'll take it down and throw it on that other machine. I've got a little bit of readjusting to do to this trailer in order to fit a corn header instead of a bean header. I don't think you guys can see it right now, but there's actually a really light sort of a sleet or ice or snow falling down right now. So that's cool. Okay, I think I got this header trailer switched over to where I want it adjusted. For some reason that took an awful lot of energy with one guy and a little bit of cursing, but I think I got it. Hey, are you okay? Feeder house drum height up. Feeder house speed slower. that this is the only wrench I have with for this, to try and get these giant nuts loose. So if Snap-on or Craftsman is looking for someone to sponsor, you know, there's options out there. Yeah, that isn't gonna fly. I guess I gotta go get better wrenches for this one. In the meantime, I'll get the rest switched over here. I gotta change the chopper belt. Thing works as a hammer, at least it's good for something. Basically, all I got to do here is switch this from the large pulley to the small pulley on the top, and from the small pulley to the large pulley on the bottom. I don't know how my ancestors that came before me ever ran their YouTube channels as farmers without magnetic swivel mounts. Take the chopper knives here and loosen them up. Oh, I don't have to change anything on this side. And then drop them down. Switch the gate inside. That way the corn cobs don't come forward and bend all the sieves. So I still got this feeder house speed I gotta change here. But the fun one is the accelerator belt inside here. Sometimes this one goes okay, but not usually. You gotta be kidding me. That is by far the easiest that has ever gone. Now, if I had brought the correct tools to change this over, I'd be combining corn in 10 minutes. I got the chain fixed, or on there correctly. Got the external stuff all switched over. Got the header on. I'm just gonna hook it up now, put the shafts on it, put the pins in place, and then I'll change the internal stuff once I know things are going good. Gotta put the snouts down. Okay, so in here we're gonna change some of the settings. I'm gonna open up the sieves a little bit to allow for the corn instead of the soybeans. Switch that. That changes electronically in the back, the chaffer position. I'm gonna open that up as well. Whoops, wrong dial. Gonna take that from 14 up to 20. We'll start there and see what we've got. Threshing clearance, concaves at 22. I'm gonna open that, wrong dial again. Gonna open that up to about 28. And then once we start it up, we'll slow our rotor down and check our fan speed. Everything seems to be running smoothly, so you can see here I've got the threshing speed adjusting. That's slowing down our rotor. I'm trying to go down from 600 down to 450, which takes some time. The machine will do that electronically. All right, so I have harvested about 150 feet since the corner of the field. I can feel, digging into here, this stuff is probably drier than we thought it was gonna be, but you never know on these tightly compacted end rows right here. It might just be drier because the corn shut down early. Once we get out there, it may or may not be wetter. I'm gonna jump down right now and walk back here and see what kind of job the machine is doing. You can see walking along here, there's a few kernels, not many. Out here, it's not doing too bad. Walk to the middle here, pull some of the residue aside. There's one there, one back here, a couple over here. So there is a few kernels on the ground, but there's almost always a few on the ground. I'm just gonna take off across the end rows here, take a bunch more and get a feel for it, get a better feel, but I know there's no big problems here. We can finally tune this, but we're not way off, so I'm gonna keep going here and see what we can do. Is 24,000 bushels to the acre good? Thinking I might have something calibrated a little off. It's harvest time, baby. We're doing it. I'm down here on the end, so I'm gonna jump out and see what we've got again. This stuff is telling me it's around 20%, which for us is really dry, especially considering it's not even October yet and we just got a freeze last night. And we knew this would be some of our driest stuff, but holy cow. You can actually see a few kernels on the ground coming right off the header. So I'm not too concerned about the kernels back here, because if some of them are coming off the header, then we don't have a problem with what's coming out the back of the machine. It doesn't look too bad. We can still play with it and fine tune it from here, but it's looking pretty good, not too bad. Well, we got the end rows off. We're gonna jump out and take a little bit better look at it and see if the scale on the grain cart is matching up with the scale on the combine. That way we're gonna know whether we actually have some decent yields or not. And Jim is on his way down here with the truck right now. We got an issue right now with the stripper plates, we call them. We got one row that doesn't want to go as narrow as the rest of them, so we're shattering a lot of corn onto the ground. Right in between here is wider than these other rows. I got Dad in the cab. He's gonna open them up. It's moving. Go back the other way again. Narrow them up. So I'm pretty confident it's this side. It's not the side that moves. By the way, I found a screwdriver under there, hiding up in there. Here's what I think we got. I think we need to adjust this plate. You can see how much adjustment is in there on the rows that are running correctly versus this one here. Okay, so we got that plate adjusted. Now we're gonna finish dumping this into here and see what kind of weight the grain cart says and see if it compares to the combine to know whether or not we actually got halfway accurate yield reading coming through the combine. Jim and I get to jump in the Challenger and test this thing out for the first time. I lost my lunchbox. Cab corn, first hopper of the year. I didn't do it.
Yeah, we won't get done with this field tomorrow, but that'll be fine too, I think.
A few initial thoughts on this Challenger tractor. The good ones first. I think this transmission is going to be really, really nice, but man, am I still trying to figure it out. There are a ton of different settings to this thing, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to program them all. So I've got Garen from Ziegler. I actually talked to him on the phone once. He walked me through some of that. I think this tranny is going to be really nice once I get used to it, but I'm trying to figure that out. The big thing I've noticed is that I can drive 15 miles an hour across the field with this thing and it is smooth. It is maybe a little bit early to tell yet, but I think it is leaps and bounds smoother than the John Deere. At 15 miles an hour with an empty cart with that Deere, I mean, you're bouncing around in the seat pretty good, and with this thing, I mean, it feels like you could go about 30 miles an hour without a problem. So it's smoother, and I think the transmission's gonna be nice. Some stuff I don't like, I'm having problems with the heating and cooling. I'm having some difficulties trying to get the pedals set, but that's my own fault. I'm just not, I haven't figured out the controls yet. It's comfortable. It's really quiet in here, actually. Yeah, it's roomy. I'm just still trying to get used to it. We're up, we're going, and we're pulling corn in. Still knocking off some end rows. Still opening up the field. This is about 115 acres here. You can see he wants to get empty. I'm having a trouble trying to get video while I'm emptying this thing because I'm still trying to figure out how to drive this tractor without spilling corn over. So here goes nothing. Yeah, that's a legal load. Of course it is. Don't you doubt me. And I got a customer waiting for me already. I better pick it up. Harvesting at night is so cool. Well, I'm a harvesting man, just a working the land. I don't know what else rhymes with land. Well, that's it for us today. Pretty simple day, not too tough, not a real late night. But now we got everything plump full of corn. We got the trucks full, we got the combine full, the grain cart is full. So tomorrow morning we will fire up the grain dryer, get that going. That'll always take a little bit of time, try and work some bugs out and get all the settings right on it and figure out the timing on it so that we know how long we're gonna dry that corn for, at what temperature and which bin it's gonna go in. So we'll have some work to do tomorrow, but hopefully it goes good, and pretty soon we're gonna be head on into harvest and late nights and long hours, and it's coming, it's here. We just we're finalizing stuff now. Things are always a little bit slow right now because we don't have 100% of our acres ready to go, but they will be real soon. Things are gonna pick up in a hurry now. So I'm gonna try and get some sleep tonight, and things are gonna be busy next week. If I have to. Thanks for watching, guys.